Hello, Steve White, TrekBoy89 for SteveArts89. Well, I want to do a video because I was really offended by a video I just saw about Trek World. Now, I'm not feeling well, as you can see, but I just was really offended by this and I wanted to say something. Not that he's going to listen, but, you know, who cares. But, yeah, he did a video about the dark side of Gene Roddenberry. Now, for the anniversary, I did a couple of videos celebrating Gene because I was aware that there had been like this growing trend to try and give credit from Gene Roddenberry creating Star Trek to other people, particularly women, DC Fontana and Lucille Ball. Now, DC Fontana did a lot for Star Trek. She's amazing. She just did a lot. Lucy didn't do anything. She accidentally greenlit the show. She didn't know what it was, and she liked it. She did not care about the money side of things. She was getting out of the business. She did not care about that side of things, and she was selling the studio. And she's made it because I like it. That's it. She didn't care. And I love her for that, but that's not exactly what people are trying to make it out to be. So all that aside, in this video, he implies that Gene was a you-know-what file, and he implies that he sexually assaulted Grace Lee Whitney. I always get her name wrong. She clearly stated in several interviews that it was not Gene Roddenberry, and I think she even said it wasn't even someone involved in the Star Trek production. It was someone at Desilu, but it wasn't someone at the production of Star Trek. The assumption was that it was someone in the production of Star Trek because she worked on Star Trek, but it was actually allegedly, supposedly, an executive from another production. That's what I read a while ago, and I have that interview somewhere screenshot, but because I remember when I first heard this rumour that Gene had raped her, because we'd all heard that she'd been raped and that she had developed a drug addiction and alcohol problem and went to rehab and sort of it destroyed her career, and she never really sort of came back as an actress, but she sort of then worked on helping people with their sobriety and so forth, and she was very religious, and I'd seen some interviews, so we all knew that she'd had that history, but there were rumours that it was Gene, and I freaked out, like, God, no, please let it not be that. And then I went and found a bunch of interviews, and she clearly stated that it was not Gene. And the idea that these people are now trying to imply that it was him, and it's not like they're reading out quotes or anything, they're just casting little aspersions and little indications and suggestions. It's just really, it's really cheap and low, and I just found it really offensive because, like I said, she clearly stated it was not him. So for them to turn around after she's dead and twist her words around when she can't defend herself or Gene, neither of them can defend themselves, is pretty disgusting. Now, so far as the comment about girls, he had an interview where he was talking about just how weird and unique and interesting and beautiful girls are, and having girls that he raised and everything, and it does come off really weird. If you look at it out of context and look at it with a sexual context, yeah, it's creepy as hell. But I'm pretty sure it was a fairly innocent comment, and he wasn't thinking in terms of sexuality. And I think to project sexuality onto a statement like that out of context is a pretty desperate attempt at trying to make someone look like there's something they're not. So yeah, I just find there is a group of people who are really, really aggressively hating on Gene and trying to discredit him for the creation of Star Trek at the moment. It's something I noticed probably about 5 years ago, around the time Star Trek Discovery started, and we had this division between the fan bases, and the new fans are attacking the old fans and trying to discredit anyone or anything about Star Trek to make their Star Trek look and sound better. And one of the things that they started to attack was Gene. Now, let's just be clear. Gene, to work with, was probably a complete arsehole, and there's no sugarcoating that. But you know what? So is James Cameron. So is a lot of people. You have to sometimes be that person. You have to sometimes just do what needs to be done, like rewriting a script to make it work, rather than just being nice and, you know, letting the other person, you know, have the final draft, and then the episode sucks and the show sucks and it doesn't live for, you know, 60 years as a legacy. So there's a lot of criticism. A lot of people didn't like that Gene would rewrite their scripts. He did it all the time. And some cynical people say, oh, he just did that to get the credit. No, he did it because he didn't like the episodes. He wanted to change them and fix them. Most of the stories went through developments, and it wasn't just him rewriting them, because the other people who rewrote them for him, he didn't get credit for them getting it. Like, he didn't get money for that. A lot of rewrites that DC Fontana did. Was that because she wanted, their residuals? No, it's because they were trying to make the best show they could. So people trying to characterize him certain ways and imply things, it's just really cheap and gross. If you want to criticize him, there's enough to actually trash about how, he acted when dealing with other people, because he didn't give a crap about anyone's feelings or anyone's egos or, anyone's residuals. So yeah, and I don't have much judgment on that, because that's the business. And if you want to get sour grapes, then, get out of the kitchen. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Don't sit there and bitch about the other people who know how to cook. So yeah, so there's that side of things. Because the assumption or the accusation, if anyone's looking at this, criticize me, will be like, oh, he's just a Roddenberry purist. Oh, he's drank the Kool-Aid. He just thinks Gene's perfect and loves everything about him. No. I don't have any issue with him having open relationships, because apparently his wife knew about it. And that's nothing to do with his creative life. And I don't think it says that much about a person, because a lot of people have open relationships. A lot of people have divorces that end, and both couples move on before they've been divorced, or they stay together for the kids and have totally separate lives. And to look at things like that, and just to drag up stuff like that, drag up that sort of dirt to try and make someone look bad, is just really gross. And that's all this guy does. He spends 18 minutes just trashing Gene. And like I said, some of it, the production stuff is probably justified because he was hard to work with. And part of that was because no one shared his vision. They all wanted to just make Star Trek a generic sci-fi show, a generic action show, a generic drama show, and have, conflict between the actors, to have, the Federation be the big bad government that they all had to sort of work at. All these sort of things that eventually creeped into Star Trek and ruined Star Trek in the last 5 years or so were all things that he fought off, and Rick Berman fought off during the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager era. And a lot of people, they had trouble working in his universe, and they resented failing and not doing well, and him criticizing them and, correcting them and rewriting them and whatever had to be done to get the shows to work. But that's what they had to do. And you can't let your egos be involved. You just have to think of what is best for the show and just make sure you get credit for what you did. Not, hold a grudge for 20 years or 30 years or 50 years or 60 years and then attack someone for it 40 years after they're dead. So I don't have much more to say about that. I think the video is disgusting. Like I said, he twists a weird quote to make it sexual, to try and imply, whatophilia. And then he pretty much literally lies about the identity of the man who sexually assaulted Grace Lee Whiteley, who she clearly said it was not Gene, and I'm pretty sure she said it wasn't even anyone on the production of Star Trek. But I need to check that part, because I need to check that. I can't find it. I just have so many articles, screen captured articles, dragged pages like over the years for Star Trek stuff that I'm trying to actually sort it all out just for myself, because I can't find anything and it's just useless. I've got all this space filled with stuff that I've saved over the years, and it's not organised in any functional way. It's just useless. I need to either sort it out or throw it out, because it's just taking up space and I'm dragging it around from computer to computer. And yeah, so that's a whole other thing. But I'm up to 9 minutes. I should stop talking. Stop talking. I barely talk anyway. I am sick and tired. But I'm also sick and tired of people trashing Gene Roddenberry because they're jealous and they're just trying to get attention, or they're just, well, what's a saucy story? Let's say Gene Roddenberry molested, his kids. Let's say Gene Roddenberry, raped one of the actors from Star Trek. That'll get some clicks and, that'll get some people talking. They don't even care if it's not accurate. As long as it gets attention, so long as they can, it's all about them. It just makes me sick. It really makes me sick. If I believe for a second he did any of those things, obviously I'd have something to say about it. I don't for a second believe he did. And I know, unless Grace was lying, and the implication was, oh, she was too afraid to say it was him. No, she wasn't afraid of shit. I'm sorry, no. If you've read her interviews, if you've seen her interviews, she wasn't afraid of anything. She wasn't in Hollywood anymore. She had no one to fear. She told the truth about what happened to her. I think the reason why she didn't mention the actual person was because he was dead, but his relatives weren't. And some people, when they have been assaulted, if the person's gone and all you're going to do is shame the family and you don't believe they know anything about it or involved in it, you don't do it. I know that from personal experience. I know from people in my family that you don't do that. So, yeah, I'm going to go. It's 10 minutes. But, yeah, that video was disgusting. It was cheap and just dishonest, I think. And I really think, you know, Roddenberry should sue people like that who make comments and accusations like that about his father. I really do. But there's probably so many people, online doing stuff like that it just never gets, sorted out. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the whole gene hater phenomena, which is like a new and growing sport, apparently.